Hey guys, welcome to the Syrup Review. I'm Karen if you're new here, and today I'm here to do the reading habits tag. So, I cannot even tell you where I saw this tag first. It's kind of all over BookTube and I don't really know who invented it either. Anyway, if I can find a link, I'm gonna put it down below. Otherwise, sorry. And I'll just do the tag. I thought this would be a very cool way to introduce myself a little further, since I'm still rather new on BookTube and there's probably a lot of things that you don't know about me or about my reading habits. So I just thought it would be a good idea to do this tag so I can talk a little bit about myself and my reading. So let's just hop right into it with the first question. They're on my phone here, so I'm gonna be looking down a bit, sorry about that. First question is, do you have a certain place at home for reading? Yes, I do. I have this chair I call my reading chair, which is right over there. It's like this chair here. That's where I sit and do my reading most of the time, or like if I have time to sit and read for a little longer. If I don't have that much time, I prefer, like before I go to sleep, I prefer doing my reading in bed. And yeah, but that over there is my reading chair. Next question, bookmark or random piece of paper? Generally speaking, bookmark, but I do sometimes end up using a random piece of paper. Sometimes I use toilet paper or whatever is at hand, because I simply have nothing else. But during the last few months, I've accumulated quite a few super cute bookmarks. To answer the question, bookmark if I have one, otherwise scrap paper. Let's get on with the next question. Can you just stop reading, or do you have to stop after a chapter or a certain amount of pages? Also here, I prefer to stop after a chapter, or at least like at a section break, but sometimes that's simply impossible because I do a lot of my reading on the train, and sometimes I'll just have to get out before I finish the chapter, and then I don't have a choice and I just have to stop reading wherever I am. But like if I have some time and I'm reading just for relaxation and that, I usually tend to stop at the chapter. I don't mind the page number so much, I'll just see how far I get and then stop at the next chapter. Somewhat like this. Do you eat or drink while reading? Yes, I do. I'm basically always eating. No, I don't like read books while having a proper meal. I do have snacks sometimes when I read, for example on the train, but I'm not the kind of person who likes to sit down with a meal and like have this awkward situation of trying to keep the book open and eating with the other hand. I don't like that. I do listen to audiobooks sometimes when I'm eating alone, but usually when I read I don't really eat. I do, however, drink, especially tea and or coffee, depending on my mood, but I do like to have like a warm cup of something to hold while holding the book in the other hand. I think that just adds to the coziness of reading and is really enjoyable. So yes, I do drink tea or coffee when I read. Multitasking, music or TV while reading? Hell no! Well, no TV at least. I absolutely cannot watch TV and read at the same time. It's impossible, I think. Is there anyone out there who can? Because I can't and I have no idea how to do it, so I don't. I do listen to music sometimes, especially when I'm on the train, when I want to like block out other people's conversation. I'll just put my earplugs in and listen to some nice and calming music. When I'm at home and alone, I don't really listen to music. Sometimes I do, but then I'll put it on a very low volume just as some kind of background noise. And I know I said I don't watch TV while I'm reading, and I don't, but sometimes it happens that my boyfriend's watching TV right here where I sit now, and I'm over there in my reading chair reading, and in that case I'll just go for the headphones as well while I read, so as not to be distracted by the TV. Next question. One book at a time or several at once? Ooh. The quick answer to this is one book at a time, but I'm gonna take a bit of a detour to explain why. So in the last few months I've tried to read several books at once. Specifically, I did that with Game of Thrones because it's so huge, and I thought I wouldn't have the patience to spend all this time on this one book, so I kind of switched to and from other books a little bit in between chapters, but I found it to be very annoying in the sense, like, I had a feeling that I wasn't really progressing on any of the books I was reading at the moment, and especially in Game of Thrones, where you have like a million characters and you're confused anyway, I found it really hard to really get into the story. Maybe it's something that would work with shorter books or like books with characters I know already, like sequels, but in this kind of trial I did, it definitely didn't work. So no, usually I just read one book at a time and then I just move straight on to the next one. Reading at home or everywhere? Well, like I mentioned a million times already, I do a lot of my reading on the train. That's simply because I have to commute to and from work for more than 2 hours every day, so I've got plenty of time to just read on the train. Other than that, I like reading at home, especially in my lovely reading chair, but sometimes when I'm out and about and I've got like half an hour to spare, I might just as well head into a coffee shop, sit down with a cup and do my reading there, or in summer somewhere outside, because I live very close to a little lake here. I can walk 2 minutes and I'm at the lake, so sometimes I just walk down there and sit on a bench to do my reading. So kind of all over the place, I'd say. Most of the time I read on the train, which is simply like a logistic thing, but I enjoy it. It makes the train not annoying, like it makes the journey worth your while, and that's why I like it. Reading out loud or silently in your head? Silently in my head? Does anyone read out loud when they're actually just reading normally? I don't know. Breaking the spine or keeping it like new? Oh, that's a hard one. About a year ago, I didn't even realize there was such a thing as breaking the spine. It was just something that I did without even noticing I did. Like, I hated it when a book was like stuck like this and I couldn't open it anymore, and then what I would do was just that, and then the spine was obviously broken, but it made my book flat, which is the way I like it. So I tend to break the spine, especially in paperbacks, but as I'm accumulating more books and I've been getting a bit more attached to hardcovers again, I try not to break them anymore, especially in hardcovers, even though the dust jacket would actually like conceal it, because I like to take the dust jacket off while I read the book, and then when I put it back on the shelf it will look nice and neat, and that's the way I like it. So I do tend to break the spine, but especially in hardcovers I try not to do it. Anyway, I just want to mention there are books where not breaking the spine is just absolutely impossible, like in Game of Thrones, where you have like, it's like this big, and I was trying not to break the spine, but then one day I was like holding the book and it was about this far in, so I was holding it in my hand like this, and for some reason I needed my hand to grab something, so I put it into my hand and just lay here, and then it just went like whoop, it all fell down and the spine broke just like that, because the remainder of the book was so heavy that it just like tripped over. I was like, oh man. But seriously, it's impossible. So we're on to the final question. Do you write in your books? Not usually. I used to do that a lot, like at university, when I had to do a lot of reading for university, and I knew that I would have to remember what I read and find relevant passages again. I was like marking and crossing and writing all over my books. I don't really do that anymore, except if it's a book that I know I want to make a thorough, in detail review of, or write an essay about or something like that, then I will do it, just to make sure I get the most out of it and I don't forget stuff that I like or didn't like or want to comment on. But usually if I just read a book for enjoyment, I won't really write into the book, because I don't even know what to write. Well then, these were all my questions. I hope you enjoyed this tag. I'm not going to tag anyone because no one tagged me either, but if you feel like doing this tag, feel free. As I said, I'm trying to link a video with the questions or like the creator down below. Otherwise, just Google, you'll find it. And it's a really fun tag to do. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you soon.